So the next speaker, for our next speaker, there are actually thousands of new AI tools being released every week. But for our next speaker, GPT, Claude, and Pi are actually outstanding. He will show us how combining the strength of GPT, Claude, and Pi can lead to a holistic AI experience, catering to a magnitude of needs and situations from personal to professional. His expertise lies in the transformation of digital footprints and leveraging promotional items as effective marketing tools. Over the last 25 years, he has established 4 successful companies, including AOK Marketing and Promotional Products, where he serves as CEO and president, respectively. Welcome on stage, Dave Burnett. Hey, Dave.
Marcus, I appreciate you having me this morning.
Great to have you. Dave, I have an initial question for you. How do you keep up, and what's your number one source of information about new AI tools?
Yes, please.
Well, and good morning, Dale. I do 2 different things for my sourcing. Believe it or not, one of them is actually Twitter. So I did the unthinkable, and I actually went back onto Twitter and cut through all the noise and got rid of everybody who I followed, and then started to follow only AI-based influencers. Started with OpenAI, then went to Sam Altman, and then moved on from there. And it just started to expand and expand. And I don't think I'm sharing my screen right now, but I'd love to show you something from Twitter, if you don't mind, from the studio there.
Uh-huh.
And so can you guys see my screen?
We see, yes, your picture, and the top says ChatGPT, Claude, and Pi. Oh my.
Oh,
fantastic. Okay, just wanted to make sure that you guys could see all of that. Perfect. So what I wanted to do was just show you a little bit of Twitter here. And just the reasoning is you just go online, and in your feed, all of a sudden, the most amazing things will start to show up.
Help get studio transform your ideas. Breathe. Just a handful of words can transform your content into a story. Weave it into a compelling narrative.
Can we make it a regular courtroom drama set in New York City?
Sure. Then Jenny, elevate it into a brand production. Music, style, and tone. Stop. Yeah, like it. But can the car be red? You got it.
You're gonna hate me, but can we try it with a dog?
No problem.
After you left the bathroom.
Okay. No problem.
We need an extra scene here. So I have some ideas about costumes.
Okay.
Can we talk titles?
Sure. Does this thing do titles? How's this? Whatever your creative wishes, LPX Studio harnesses the power of AI.
Well, this is just an example of something that just came out yesterday, and there's even more examples out there.
Yeah. Seems more.
So you can see there's just amazing things that you can find there. Now, beyond that, there's also some aggregators. So there's alternatives.co is a great aggregator that I recommend. Another one is Futurepedia. So Futurepedia, and then there's an AI for that. So there's all these different tools out there that you can look into if you're trying to find an AI for your specific application. So getting on with my presentation, because I want to be representative of my time here today. I want to be conscious of that. The real reason why I'm here is to talk to you about the actual biggest amplifier of your business when it comes to AI, and that's actually your people. Now, just so you're clear, my goal for today is to give you 2 things. Number 1 is a framework as to how to approach AI in your organization and help you become the leader that you always wanted to be, and demonstrate one of the ways that you can use one of the current best tools more effectively. We're all here learning and growing the way of EO and YPO, and that's amazing. But I have a question for you. How many of your people in your organizations are doing the same thing? How many of you shared the event with your people, shared other events with the people, or invited them to those types of events? And even more importantly, how many of them show up? Because AI is relatively new to all of us, at least it is the way it is today. And I want to give you this framework so you can understand where people are on the journey and help move them to the next level. So once they are moving and innovating on your behalf, they will move your business forward. They're going to help master and innovate with AI in your field, in your business, in their area of expertise. Now, let's say if you're a technology company and you have a team of programmers, you're pretty lucky because you probably have a team full of early adopters, people who are striving towards the next better thing, trying to make their lives easier. They've been using GitHub Copilot and have been for a year. For the rest of you, most of the entrepreneurs on this call, I'm going to guess, I would bet you're not in the situation where you're blessed with these early adopters. You might own a manufacturing company or distribution company or a services company, or you're in an industry that's been relatively stable for decades, and this is all new to you and probably scares the crap out of you. And I mean, it did for me. And you're just learning more today than you ever thought possible in a few short hours. I'd like to introduce you to the first stage of the AI adoption curve that all your people go through, and it's fear. They hear the headlines, they fear for their jobs, they fear the implications of what this technology means for the future. They're justifiably afraid for their jobs, their income, and their livelihood. And so was I. I mean, back a year ago, in January of 2023, we lost every single one of our content customers in my digital marketing agency in a month. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of recurring revenue just gone. And ChatGPT was only introduced in November. In less than 2 months, all that business was gone. Now, marketers, copywriters in particular, were simply the first businesses to be impacted by the large language models. Now, if you're familiar with the saying, we are the canaries in a coal mine. And what I mean by that is back years ago, coal miners used to take birds into the mines with them because canaries were more sensitive to the poisonous gases than people were. If the canary fell over dead that you were carrying, there was poison in the air and you better get out of there. That's what marketers are experiencing right now. Marketing agencies all around you are falling over dead. I'm hoping that business owners like you are taking notice. So your people have fear. How will the technology impact them? What does it mean to them? Will they still have a job tomorrow, next week, next year? So what do they do as smart, logical people that you've hired? They start to investigate AI and they reach the next stage in their journey, skepticism. They see a photo of an AI image generator and they notice that the character has 7 fingers instead of 5. They focus on that and they say, look, it's not perfect. So they're skeptical of the impacts. Or they pose a question on the free version of ChatGPT or Claude in their area of expertise and they get a crappy answer. They read the answer as an expert and see all the flaws. And they start to tell themselves, people in my role are fine. Look at how bad that image is, or how that image generator misspelled a word, or how bad that answer was. They know exactly what is wrong with what they see, so they tell themselves they have nothing to worry about. So they dismiss the tech and they get on with their day, content that they are good. What they don't realize is that, in fact, the tech is advancing. And then you get to this holy crap moment. This moment when they realize this is for real, and this is something I need to pay attention to. And you, as a leader, I want you to get your people here as quickly as possible. Now, this happened to me almost a year ago when I was forced to confront the reality of my content part of my business getting crushed by AI. I sat down and thought to myself, what the heck is going on? Now, I'd been actually in the beta of OpenAI since 2019. I saw the program when it was called something else. I played with it over the years, and what made this chat version so different? Then I realized it wasn't only the tool that was better, it was how I was using the tool. Like any good tool, the better the inputs, the better the outputs. A paintbrush in the hands of an artist creates a much better art than a paintbrush in the hands of a 5-year-old. And I was a 5-year-old. The better I got, the better the machine appeared to get. And I realized that it was actually me. I was the problem. The machine was capable. The operator, me, was not. And all of a sudden, wow. Look at what it could do. Look at the quality of the output. Look at the marketing plan I could produce. Look at the ad copy. Holy crap. And this aha moment was life-changing for me. And I realized I was wrong. And I realized I had to get good at this thing. I had to investigate. So I spent 2 solid weeks last year learning everything I could, catching up on everything I missed in February, and playing with every tool I could get my hands on and finding these aggregator sites. Found investor sites with philosophies on how to look at this technology. I read stories. As I say, I went onto Twitter and followed all the people who were thought leaders in this space. I dug in, immersed myself, and did the best I could to catch up. And for a moment, I did. I even got to the point where I understood the boundaries. I was like, okay, here's what I can do. The constraint is no longer me. I understand the tools, the machine. And for a moment, I got comfortable. Then GPT-4 launched in March, and another leap forward happened. The tool improved, and at least at this point, I knew what I could do. And then being an entrepreneur, I started to wonder how I could use it in my business, which takes us to the next part, adoption. Same thing that caused all the issues with me losing my copywriting clients also enabled me to be an early adopter of this tech. The LLMs like ChatGPT are ideal for marketing. And it's actually really interesting to me because I thought the last thing that AI would replace would be creativity. I thought it would be the menial, repeatable tasks that people do, the exact sciences, the maths, and things like that. I was wrong. I'm sure you've heard of the hallucinations. You may have run into some of them yourself and how they get off track and don't make much sense. But another way to look at it is creativity. It's a kind of creativity. This machine and these machines are extremely creative in an unbound kind of way. And that's a huge advantage if you're in a creative industry. So I adopted this creativity and built tools and used tools. For example, we use a tool called GPT for Sheets that incorporates ChatGPT into your Google Sheets, creates ad text for our campaigns. Or we use the image generation in Midjourney to come up with some creative ideas for imagery. Or I use well-designed prompts to come up with complete marketing plans. And we're now 90% of the way there. And for those of you who know Scott Empringham, he's an amazing marketing guy. And Scott and I have some prompts that over on 10-day AI bootcamp that you can look at. But there are many different ways that you can use the tools. And I'm guessing that why many of you are on this call today. Now, I'm coming at this from a non-programming background. And if you're looking for answers as to why one tool works better than the others from a technical perspective and how those tools can interact with your data, there's many more people on this call that can help you with that, because that's the next level, mastery. Now, this can mean many things and many different levels depending on your organization. It could mean simply using the available tools that exist in the marketplace today, a couple of which I'll be showing you in a minute, or it could be setting aside time each week to see what new developments there are in the large language models, the vision models, the robotics, whatever's applicable to you, and keep on top of things. Now, if you have a lot of first-person customer data, there's lots of presenters today who have specific domain expertise and help you implement that and build tools around them. So here, let me give you the entire model as it is. Here's the entire framework for you to think through about your people, for your departments, your organization, and even yourself. Where do you fall in this framework? And how can you help others and yourself get to the next level? So what I want to do now is take a minute about the tools. I often get asked, what tool should I use for this? And what tool should I use for that? How do I implement this in my organization? So I'm going to look at 3 large language models very quickly: Claude, Pi, and ChatGPT. Now there's Claude, which has a larger input reference, which basically means you can upload entire books into it and ask those books questions. Then there's Pi, which is positioning itself as your personal AI. So if you want to, you can have deep, heartfelt discussions with it. And then there's ChatGPT, which is multimodal. And what does that mean? It can chat like Pi. It has massive inputs you can use as reference like Claude, but it can do much more. So I thought the most fair thing would be to ask each of the tools about each other. Here's what Claude had to say, and I won't read through all of it, but basically Claude thought that it was an impressive conversationalist. Pi claims to have something else, and then ChatGPT, but is prone to hallucinations, which I thought was really interesting that Claude kind of hit on its competitors a little bit. Pi, on the other hand, focused on empathy, and cons, it can be less informative than other AI models, which I thought was really interesting to talk about itself that way. And then ChatGPT. So I used ChatGPT 3.5, and I asked it for one sentence. And you'll notice that it kind of went off the rails a little bit, which I thought was interesting. So then I put it into ChatGPT 4. And this is when, after doing a bit of research, a bit of revised prompting, it actually came up with a really good summary. ChatGPT offers a broad range of applications, a bunch of different things. Pi excels in providing emotionally intelligent conversations. And Claude focuses on being helpful, honest, and harmless, but faces limitations in a data set comprehension and may over-censor content due to conservative ethical guidelines. I thought it was very interesting to look at these things. But for me, the clear winner is ChatGPT, even if it does require some additional prompting. And, for $20 a month, it can do everything the other two can do. But it can do more, as I'm hoping some of you know. If not, it can create images. If you ask it to create something, it will. It has vision, where you can upload an image and ask about it. It has voice. You can record messages. It'll recognize your voice and create outputs. It has internet access, which incorporates Bing search, so you can get up-to-date information. And then it has custom AI agents called GPTs, where you can upload information, give it specific instructions, and it will output information in your brand voice or with reference to whatever you upload. Most recently, you can now stack your GPTs on top of each other. So as a non-programmer, I just want to walk you through that. You can use your own created GPTs, or you can use someone else's. You can discover and create custom versions of ChatGPT that combine instructions, extra knowledge, and any combination of skills. Here are some examples of some of the featured GPTs. And if you look in the bottom right corner, there's something there by 11 Labs. I'd recommend checking out anything from 11 Labs. It's really, really an interesting platform. Now, for example, let's say you needed some help with writing. So again, from a marketing perspective, there are tons of options to choose from. You can choose an all-round writer, a slide creator, or a fully SEO optimized article creator, including FAQs. And I saw something earlier in the chat about SEO optimized content. Basically, in our experience as a digital agency and working on SEO, you can use AI-generated content, but we highly recommend that you have a human edit and add to and fix up. But you can use just strictly AI-generated content. Google has said it will not punish, and we've actually used it that way. But let's say you don't see anything that's specifically designed for you. The good news is you can create your own custom GPT with only a few prompts. So how do you do that? Well, in the top right corner when you're logged in, you just click create. And the prompts, as the prompt says in the middle of the screen, you can say something like, make a creative who helps generate visuals for new products, or make a software engineer who helps format my code. And I just thought I would pause for a moment. And does anybody else see the irony that the machine is now prompting us rather than us prompting it? I just thought I'd point that out. Now, what we've done is I want to give you a little more specific example on a marketing side of things. We created a custom GPT for the University of Manitoba. It's called the Campaign Planner. It's a brand GPT. We uploaded it and trained it on all the brand standards, policies, information about their organization. And you can do the same thing for your organization. This GPT now has everything you need to know about the university's stats, campuses, branding guidelines, students, and alumni support. So I can go online, select this GPT, and start a conversation. For example, I instructed to target the alumni, people who graduated from the university, and start off making sure that the GPT is primed to know what I'm talking about and what I want to do, what I want from this conversation. As you can see, I instructed it to make sure it had all the knowledge it needed to create effective ads. And for the response of only, do you understand? And it replied saying, yes, I understand. I then started to stack the other GPTs. Over time, I've created multiple GPTs that are marketing related. Ad copy generators, value proposition designers, creative marketing storytellers. You can now use them all in one conversation. So how you do that is you start with your base GPT, in this case, the Campaign Planner. Then you select another GPT to chat with. You enter the @ symbol in the input field. And when you do this, up will pop a list of the GPTs you have available to you, either the ones that you downloaded from the store or the ones that you created yourself. Here, for example, you can see the most recent ones I was using. Now, assuming I was using the value prop GPT, which has expertise in value proposition design, you give it instructions to create a GPT for a particular target market. And in this case, I wanted it to create something for graduates and the alumni. And so here's the resulting value proposition. If you notice at the bottom, it says on the last line, invest in a future, which would appeal to that particular market segment, people who are looking to improve the world or leave a legacy. Then I used my ad analysis creator and I uploaded a competitor's ad for the University of Toronto and said, okay, analyze this ad. What are they trying to do? And it came back with something like the image used in the ad captures the university's campus, presenting it as a lively, bustling with students. This suggests a vibrant community and a positive campus experience. It's just amazing the way they can actually see. And it said the architecture in the building is prominently featured, which may evoke a sense of tradition and history. Just amazing what it can do. It also gave some textual context, saying it's first in Canada and 21st globally. The mention of the prestigious world reputation. I mean, just awesome. Then what you can do is you can go back to your original GPT in the same conversation to create new ads for your target market based on the campaign goals. In this case, I typed in, create an ad for the University of Manitoba that is better than the University of Toronto ad. And here it is. It actually gave me instructions on visual elements. It gave me headlines. It gave me subject-specific text for the University of Manitoba because it has all this information in its knowledge base. It even gave me a call to action and tell me where to put the logo. I then asked it for an image to create for the designers to mimic. And just for your reference, the actual building on the top right is the actual administration building. And ChatGPT came up with the middle image, which is a little bit different, similar but not perfect. So what you can do then is create some variations of headlines for approval and testing. So in 10 minutes, we've done what used to take an advertising agency weeks: research, build, have specific customer knowledge. And this is what it's done to the AI, to the marketing world. Now, if you're going to bring something like this back to your people, you have to make it clear to them that all is not lost, especially your marketing department. And it all depends on where they are in their journey. Now, in my coaching practice, there's 8 components in a high growth organization. Only one of them is technology, yet 2 of them are people related: people and team health. You still need sales and marketing and meetings. These tools are amplifiers. Here's the framework again for you in its entirety. Fear: this is going to take all of our jobs. Skepticism: look, all the image and all the text in that image is spelt wrong. Amazement: wow, we can do that. And that? Investigation: so how does it work? How are others using it? How can I use it? And I think that's why a lot of us are here today. Adoption: okay, it works for me here, here, and here. And then mastery: using it every day, learn the limits, and build your own. What I'm hoping you get out of this framework is understanding where different people might be, and you need to help them get past that, oh my gosh, holy crap moment. So they start understanding how to use these tools in their lives. Show them how music is being generated. Show them the viral video or viral photo of the Pope in this white jacket. Show them how to how with the right prompts, ChatGPT can make their lives easier, and just look at it as a tool like Google Docs or Gmail or Outlook. Now, once they get past the investigation stage, as one leader said, AI is like water. And, my take on that is you need to learn how to swim, or they're going to start drowning and take you down with them. You might be thinking to yourself, there's so much information, there's so much to learn, my people all over the place. And really, I wanted to show you a little something about that too.
He's the first cat herder in our family. Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy. Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half wild short hairs. That's another thing altogether. Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
I got this one this morning right here. If you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, man.
You see the movies, you hear the stories. I'm the leader. Not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
It ain't an easy job, but when you bring a herd into town and name after one of them, it ain't feeling like it will.
So as a leader, I think you have an obligation and responsibility to take care of your people. And it might feel like herding cats, but your people are somewhere on this graph right now. Your responsibility is to bring them across the chasm. And I want you to think about what you can do to make this process easier for all of your people. We're already going through it. We've been through it. What can we do to help others? Because that's what will define us as leaders in this movement, in this moment. And it's not about us. We're okay. We're here today in this presentation. It's about everybody else who has to get there. So I want to thank you for your time, and I want to happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Wonderful, Dave. Thank you so much for this wonderful keynote. Having introduced ChatGPT quite early in my company, I can totally relate to your framework. Fear, skepticism, and the very first reaction. It was so much around getting our team feeling that they are safe and that they're secure, that they actually have
7 fingers.
Exactly. Yeah, that they have a great feeling around this, that they don't fear that they're losing a job. Because what I actually did in my company is the first people that were fired basically was the content agency. Just like I completely feel you. It's crazy. Unfortunately, we don't have much time for many questions. We're out of time, but we have one from the crowd, right?
From the audience, what are your thoughts on Perplexity AI?
Well, Perplexity.ai is a relatively new tool that I'm not that familiar with, to be honest. So I can't give you any specific thoughts on it, but I'm definitely going to investigate it and check it out after, and then connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'd love to be able to chat with you about it after.
Super. Thank you, Dave. So you work with Scott. That means you're in Orange County. You're in California right now?
No, I'm actually in Toronto.
but
Orange County would be even earlier than it is here.
That's what I meant. I was just saying it's quite early for you right now. So I highly appreciate your giving this keynote at this early hour. I couldn't really feel that you were just getting out of bed. No, it was just super great. Dave, thanks so much, and we're on to our next speaker.